Welcome to the Reality or Not podcast with your boy DJ Reality and your homie Ed. What up, Ed, man? How you doing?
I'm all right, man. What about yourself?
Doing pretty good, good energy. I actually got to call my pops for Father's Day. I haven't had a chance to do that. But other than that, this is Sunday. Been up early, knocking out some of the things in the house and getting some yard work done. But other than that, everything is pretty chill, man. Just need to get some stuff aligned and go from there. So
Okay. Sounds fascinating.
thank you, man. Appreciate it. So in the midst of we recorded the last podcast and wanted to make sure that we were giving y'all the best quality that it was as we had recorded an album series with Raekwon, only built for Cuban Linx, and a breakdown of each of the tracks. The quality didn't come out where it was missing every word, so we wanted to make sure that we was able to give it to you, and you can make your decision on how you feel about it, and you can just listen to us talk about it. But all that being said, the album that we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, is Raekwon, only built for Cuban Linx. One of my favorite albums, and it's very highly regarded as a classic. So I just wanted to give my spiel, or we wanted to give our spiel of a breakdown of each track and go from there. But other than that, we could jump right into it. We got Striving for Perfection, first track on the album. Don't know if we need to spend too much time on that one, but how do you feel about that one, Ed?
Like just the introduction, kind of set the album off, gives you the little mafioso vibe that they're gonna be on, I believe. So,
No,
yeah,
that's dope. And I had looked at, well, we had looked at some stuff past week, whatever, and you were saying, how this is one of the more cinematic type of albums, and it kind of laid the foundation. As I said, I think some albums were doing that before, but this one kind of elevated that idea of having different AKAs, or you had
right.
Tony Stark or Lex Diamonds, or all of these different Wu Gambino names that were introduced to us. Speaking of that, man, did you ever do the Wu Tang generator of what your name is, your Wu Tang name?
Um, I think I did, but I can't even remember what the name was.
I'm gonna look
What
mine up.
about you?
I can't remember what mine is, but an interesting fact, I don't know if you knew this, but Childish Gambino or Donald Glover, that's where he got his name
Oh,
from, was from the
I
Wu
do remember
generator.
that.
So
I do remember hearing that. Yeah.
it was kind of dope, like you knew that, like fans and stuff like that, back in the day with, doing these types of things. So all that being said, we can move on to track number 2. We got Knuckleheads featuring Ghostface and You God. Um, how do you feel about that track? Jumping off the album and just where would you not necessarily rate it, but like just give your opinion on the song?
I mean, I thought it was a solid song. I know we talked about this last week. I mentioned that not really impressed with you guys' verse. Felt like Knowledge God probably would have been the better song to come with after the intro, but I mean, it's not a bad song. I mean, like I said, you guys really wasn't saying anything in his verse. They probably just could have kept it to they could have kept it mad short, but just like Ghost and Ray doing a verse, maybe giving Ray another verse since it was his album, but it's not. I mean, it's not bad. I can listen to it. It's not bad. It's just you hear you God and you like, oh yeah, you God is a member of the Wu Tang Clan, so they got to give him verses sometimes.
Yeah, the one thing that's good about that song is that You God goes last.
Right.
So if you don't want to listen to it, that's fine. But I always feel like within the Wu, as you mentioned, as them being a group, you're going to get Wu Tang members all over. So it's going to be some that I like and some that I don't like. And not to say that his I didn't like his verse, but at the same time, it was I don't know, better than raw. I'm gonna give it to you straight like cocaine, straight from Bolivia. Like I don't know. I never was a fan of You guys, so this is one of those, like, even if you remove them off of here and you had just the two verses, I think it's still a good song, but I think it just works for their crew. and it's not a song
Yeah,
that hurts the album. So
no, not at all.
yeah,
Not at all.
yeah. So with Knowledge Guard, like how do you feel? That's number 3 on the album. That's the first Raekwon song by himself. How do you feel about that one?
No, I like it. I mean, I thought it was. I thought it was dope. I think, like you said last week, probably would have been the better song to like start the album with after the intro. It's Raekwon by himself. Well, I like the production on there. No, I mean, I thought it was a dope song. I can rock with it. What about you?
I liked it a lot. It's probably one of the songs that, when they get into that God body, 85% talk and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I don't feel like it came off that much on this song where it was just him rapping.
Hmm.
And sometimes that, like I said, sometimes I hear things and I listen back and I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about, back then? But this is one of those songs I thought it was straightforward, and it would have been a good kickoff to the album. But now that I think about it, I'm like, well, where would you have put Knuckleheads at? If Because like I said, I don't think Knuckleheads was a great song to start the album with, but I don't know. It's almost as if that song, I don't know, may have been a better song for a Wu-Tang project. I don't know. Like instead, like a Wu-Tang album instead of a Raekwon album as far as Knuckleheads. But like I said, still not a bad song. I mean, but this song would have kicked it off better or gave a better flow as
Hmm.
far as a cinematic view of where they were trying to go with the album. It felt like they just recorded Knuckleheads and they was like, well, it's a good song. Let's put this on the album somewhere. And that
Right.
all, in my opinion, sometimes come down to syncing and stuff like that. Like I told you, my overall beef with Common, One Day It All Makes Sense, was more so the syncing of the album, not necessarily the quality of
Oh,
songs
yeah,
of the album. So
that's true.
yeah. So Criminology number 4, featuring Ghostface Killer. How do you feel about that one?
I mean, I like criminology. I think we're spoken like I think I was just looking it up. It was the second single
Hmm.
off the album. For some reason, I put criminology and glaciers of ice together. Even though I mean, you hear them, you know the difference. But I
Hmm.
don't know if it's because they were. Uh, I don't know. I don't even know if they had videos for both of them. But I
Definitely
mean,
Glacier
I
of
like.
Ice. I don't remember
Yeah,
Criminology.
nah. But I like. No, I mean, I enjoyed criminology. Like you said, it was one of the first songs I heard off of the album since not necessarily. I mean, it says here it was a second single, came out June 26, 95.
Hmm.
Um, Trying to see when the album itself came out. Um, nah, man, I thought it was cool. Ghost and Ray doing the thing that they, that back and forth everything that they've kind of been known for, like just them rapping together. I
Let
like the
me ask this
production on
question.
it.
Would you think, you had just mentioned it with them going back and forth, do you think that if it was just them two rapping on an album, it would be a better album? Or do you think that, I mean, like I said, it's a Wu-Tang album, right? So, but do you think this album would have been better? Because I think on the cover it has it featuring, I think it says featuring Tony Starks and Lex Diamonds, or at least featuring Tony Starks. Um, do you think it would have been a better quality album just with them two?
Um, mm, I mean, I don't know because I mean, I think it's a damn near classic as it is. Um, I think Capadonna. He was on Ice Cream. I think he was on a couple others. Like I don't think. I mean, we just talked about you got a knucklehead. Um, I don't think like there were any like really just horrible features on there. I think about like Wu Gambinos, like the basically the Wu Tang Posse cut. Like that's probably one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm cool with it as is because I think there was still like. Let me go back and look at the track list and
Yeah, and I feel that. I mean, I was just thinking like, if it was just them, it would have been more cohesive. But at the same time, you giving up, you got that means you're giving up Kappa, or you're giving up,
right.
like you said, you're giving up the Wu Gambino track, or you're giving up the track with Inspector Deck and Genius.
Yeah.
So it's your give and a take. I mean, you take the crew for what it's worth. And I'm trying to think now. Was did Oh Dirty even make this album?
No,
Uh,
it was not on this album.
yeah. So I mean, it. I I do feel like with the flow of the album and how it's created, the features that they have on there. I mean, I do feel that it would be a little bit more cohesive if it's just them two because they got great chemistry. It's like hearing an album with Jada and Styles, right? I think that
Right.
could have been a dope ass album. If they ever, I mean, Sheik, I mean, throw Sheik in there too. But I'm just saying, if it was just them two rapping and made an album, I
Right.
think that them coming together, it'd be a better album than Styles recording by himself, or Sheik recording, or Jada recording by himself, or um, or a Locks album in general. So,
I see what you're saying. I got what you're saying.
you know,
Uh, yeah, maybe.
cool. The next
Maybe they'll
track,
do the only built for Cuban Links 3.
why?
So you can get the Ghost and Ray collab album that you wanted.
Nah, we just want a Ghost and Ray collab album. Don't keep putting these extra tags on there
Mhm.
and muddying up the out. Well, you know what? I never understood that. Why people do that 20 years later or 10 to 15 years later. Like that was what was kind of cool with Hove. Hove was just like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, and then blueprint 1, blueprint 2. Then blueprint 3 came kind of later. I think blueprint 2 was like 2002 and I think blueprint 3 was like 2009. But because then you had the Black album, then you had Kingdom Come, then you had um, the American Gangster soundtrack or his American Gangster album. Then the Blueprint 3 came up. So it's kind of like, I don't know, man, just you put too much pressure on yourself. And maybe it's just trying to build up anticipation for that only built for Cuban Links 2 album or whatever, but let's stay away from those. I mean, they had plenty of album like you can name it Blood on Chef's Apron or something like that. That was a considered album title at one point in time. So it's like, geez, let's just stay away from muddying up your classics or classic in your eyes albums. So
Okay.
cool. How do you feel about number 5, Incarcerated Scarface is another Inspector Deck, another Raekwon solo joint by himself. And granted, he only had, well, at least from Ghostface perspective, Ghostface is on 12 of 18 of these songs. So it's essentially a collaboration album between each other, but then you have other Wu-Tang members mixed in as well. So, but how do you feel about Incarcerated Scarfaces?
No, I thought it was dope. I like the beat on there. Um, the beat was hard to me. I remember the video. I think it was like I feel like he was on a. It's like in the looked like he was in the projects on a fire escape or something like that from what I remember. But no, I mean, just knock niggas out the box. Like I'm just thinking about the beat. Like when I think about Incarcerated Scarface, I just think about like kind of how hard the beat was, and then but Raekwon doing what Raekwon do, dropping his little lyrics and everything. Um, for some reason, I was thinking about a comparison to as far as lyrically thinking about a comparison the Cream where like almost like Raekwon was just like talking about like I guess like growing up in New York at that time or whatever, and incarcerated Scarface is kind of makes me think of that. Not like it's not like a direct link or anything, but it's kind of puts me in the vein of like how he was what he was rhyming about, like kind of like just the rhyming of
Pissy
Cream.
hallways,
Yeah, makes me like talking about makes me think that
dirty
so that's
elevators.
kind of yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, that's what
very
incarcerated
grimy.
Scarface makes me think about. Yeah, there you go. That's probably
Mm,
the word I was looking for, but
yeah.
couldn't come up with like uh the lyrics were just like grimy, not like sometimes Ghost and Ray got the had the moments where they give you the nonsensical rhymes or maybe some of the super flashy stuff or the heavy mafioso stuff, but this was kind of like grimy, which I think is reminiscent of what his Queen verse was. Um, nah, but it was probably Scarface's. I'd probably say it's one of my favorite tracks on the album.
And nah, it's one of those songs to me that I hear that like you said. I mean, I like the grimy part in the in your face lyrics. It's one of those tracks I feel that anybody can listen to. Not to say that everybody would digest it, but it was a digestible song. 'Cause when I first heard it, I was like, "Damn, this is a single." But then I started listening to it more. It kind of reminds me of Shook One's Mob Deep. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like as far as the griminess of New York, but at the same time, being able to be a song that if you played it, not everybody would vibe to it, but people would understand. People would listen. They'd be like, okay, that's I'm bobbing my head, or I'm rocking side to side, and I'm really feeling the track. Um, I just really think it's just a dope track for Ray. It
right.
was perfectly put together, and it definitely didn't need a feature. Like it was, if it had a feature, even with the chemistry of him and Ghost, it just probably would have been too much. Where it was just
hmm
him shining as a, and this is where sometimes I think features started to become too much, where features had to start selling the albums. And I saw this interview with Memphis Bleak, and Memphis Bleak was talking about how Jay-Z would do, no, it was either Bleak, I think actually both of them were in it, but it was Memphis Bleak and Freeway. And they were saying how Jay-Z wouldn't get on their singles, but he would get on their album track. Yeah, it was Freeway.
Okay.
How he would get on their album tracks. So like say for instance, What We Do, that wasn't an expected single, but Jay-Z got on that track, and they all, like him and Beans and Freeway, all shined on it. But that
Right.
wasn't the track that sold you to listen to Free. Like you really had to like. I mean, it was like the joint with Beanie Siegel or whatever. Like it got to a point where if you didn't have that right feature on a song, that the track didn't move. And that's what was dope about Raekwon. Raekwon was very seasoned in a sense that, what the first single was Glacier's Ice. That one had Ghost on it, and wasn't Master Killer on that one, I think, too. Mas I think I think Master Killer was on
Yeah,
that one. I have to
that's
look it
good.
up, but we'll
Yeah.
get to it. But it was one of those tracks that even though you heard them featured on it, like you knew that this was Raekwon's time to shine. Like you didn't have to
Right.
worry about and then Incarcerated Scarfaces. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these songs were coming out, even though it was Wu-Tang members, it was like, that was Raekwon's quote unquote chamber of getting his shine as far as an artist. So with this song coming out, it was really like you had mentioned it before, it was like Cream, it was like a it was solo song of Cream, so
Right.
it was just dope as fuck to me, for lack of better words. What's the next song? Well, you got Rainy Days, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
number 6, Rainy Days, featuring Ghostface and your favorite singer, Blue Raspberry. Tell me about this track. How you feel about this one?
It really made me anticipate Blue Raspberry solo album, which never came out, unfortunately.
It came out.
Um,
You didn't get it?
did it?
I'm pretty sure it
What was the
did.
name? What was the name of it?
Oh, don't give me the line.
Raspberries and
I don't.
cream.
Is probably Raspberries are Blue. How are you? I don't. You never know. RZA would have put out anything from a Wu-Tang member, man.
It would have. Wow. It come out to 2005 out of the blue. Well, I guess that's not.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Look, RZA would put out anything because, you know, it's funny, too, that if you look at this album, the dope part about this album was this is where it started to be too, even though, what's the nigga that used to fuck with Method Man a lot? He was on the Wu-Tang Forever album. Yeah, Street Life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't really start seeing that. And I like Street Life a lot, and I liked him on the Wu-Tang Forever album. But this was an album even Kappa was introduced to us on this album. But this is an album of just strictly Wu members. If a Wu member was featured outside of Nas, but if a Wu member was featured, it was people that we knew of. It wasn't that we was getting, although Fourth Disciple did some co-production on this album, it wasn't as if we were getting introduced to Killer Sin or any of these Killer Army or any of these other. Yeah, we were getting quality rapper or quality. We were getting a quality of a Wu-Tang album from Raekwon's perspective.
Right. Yeah. So in that vein, I did like Rainy Days. I think when we talked about last week, I did say like I don't think I like it necessarily as much as I did when I first heard it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when first, you know, those first few years you listen to only for Cuban Linx. I think it's towards the end though, where you know they kind of just let the singing go, but they did that on some Wu tracks, like you know Ghost did it on All I Got Is You with Mary J. But like I
didn't like that one Ghostface track where the nigga did. I forgot, it had the whole sample playing through it. What was the name of that shit? I feel like it was on what's the name of that album? But he had the whole sample playing as he was rapping. I thought that shit was terrible.
I can't remember the name. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Though. I can't remember the name of the song, but yeah, like, but no, even now, like, if I put this in, it's definitely like I don't think there's really anything that like I just look at it and say like, oh, I have to skip it, and I don't think like I'd hear this one, I'm like, oh shit, I do remember this joint that, but like probably back in '95 when this album dropped, Wu Gang Beatles was probably my favorite track. Then like I probably since I'm looking at the track list and
what's the date of the album drop? I know you had looked it up earlier. What was the date? I can't remember.
August 1st, 95.
Oh, okay. What's the name dropped around then? What's the nigga name? AZ. I feel like he dropped in August too. I remember hooking that CD up for $4.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was right before school. It was either right before school or right when I was like, yeah, I gotta look that up. I feel like it was right around that time. Damn, that nigga dropped around when the Wu dropped. That's crazy.
No, AZ actually said Apple Music says October 10th.
For AZ?
Yeah.
Sugar Hills?
I mean, Do or Die, the album. I don't know.
I mean, Do or Die, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, I realize it's like, okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I'm trying. Yeah, I looked it up again. Like, oh yeah, it says October 10th. That wasn't a bad album. But yeah, Rainy Days is solid to me. Like I was trying to look at the track list and like I think it's. I mean, like I said, this is only built for Cuban Linx. So I mean, I guess that's probably reason gets like classic status because I mean, it's not like there's any completely horrible songs on this album. Like it's not a garbage album. I think Rainy Days is. As far as because I was figuring out I would rank Rainy Days now, but like songs I probably rank over just like songs that I just really, really like. But I could because this is just Raekwon rapping too, right? Yeah, there's nobody else rapping on it.
Ghost on it.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
thought, why? Okay,
Jump back,
yeah. So
ask your bitch. What do you say? Ask my bitch. Some day of lights. Or something. I can't remember. It's in front of heights or something like that. He was on there
oh, yeah,
doing
you're
Ghostface
right.
things.
Yeah, yeah. Nah. But yeah, I like you. What about you?
I like rainy days, man. Like I said, I always equate this or like this is when I was like the whole soul sample and stuff like that. That
Yeah,
this was one of them songs that like if I can say a song that may have influenced Kanye type of things, it'd be like this song or I don't know, Hollow Bones or like those types.
mm,
I feel like that kind of influenced how production was headed to as far as like just grabbing the sound or grabbing the soul sample and flipping it and bouncing it. But
right.
I mean, you mentioned Blue Raspberry. I mean, this conversation reminds me of how Master P felt about Mercedes, and when Charlemagne talked about her, bending over and have her ass on the cover of a CD, and it's like
Yeah,
I don't want to get beat up by Ghost and Ray, but I didn't care for Blue Raspberry singing on this song. I liked it subtly, but I didn't like when it towards the end. So
right. Where it just became a main feature, like almost gave her like her own little verse.
you remember Bone Thugs and Harmony? What was that song? And I hated her. I think her name was Tashonda or something like that. When she was singing on the song, she just kept singing at the end of it. Was it for the love of money?
Might have been. Mm.
No. It's a
Was it Thuggish?
fucking
Yeah, I was about to say
stars.
Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thuggish. Yeah,
yeah.
Tashonda. I
Oh
hated that
yeah.
shit.
Oh man, I ain't heard that song in years.
Yeah, you don't need to. You'll be all right.
Uh,
You can skip that one. You can just play for the love of money. That was a great song. Uh,
It was, but
but Thuggish Ruggish
overall, I could
Bones is
skip
not needed.
Bone.
You
Uh,
say what?
Overall, I could skip Bone. Like when they do those like one gotta go things, if Bone was ever in there, Bone would be automatic. Like
You
I
take
just see Bone and
You
be like
Got Over
Bone,
Bone?
bro. I mean, you talking about you got by himself versus the 4 or 5 MCs and Bone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
I don't think it's too many that I take You Got Over in life. It had to be like Trinidad James or
No,
I don't know.
I, I don't know that. mm, I mean, Bone is just. mm,
Look, hey, you get no arguments from me with I mean, don't get me wrong, I thought Bone was unique, but
That's a good way to describe it.
but the best thing out of Cleveland, even though it's out of Akron, is LeBron.
Oh, I thought
And
you were gonna say the the Ray guy. Ray, I forgot his last name. Ray something was a rapper.
I remember Ray. I like that song
I was
too.
gonna say I take if you talking about best Cleveland rappers. I mean, I'll take him in the one single. What is it? Ray
Damn.
Cat? Was it Ray Cash?
Ray Cash. Ray
Yeah,
motherfucking Cash. That song was banging. What's
yeah.
the name of that shit? I think it took like I think it took a sample from it was definitely from one of the southern artists. It might have been shit, it might have been UGK. But I can't remember the hook
Was
had the UGK or it was some southern artist that he had grabbed the sample from, but I can't or the hook
it
from.
bumping my music?
Huh?
Was it bumping my music?
No, I wasn't bumping my music. It was another single. Um let's see. I know the title as soon as I hear it. I mean, it was his first single. I think it's Sex Appeal. But anyway, yeah, we want to get charged for his music. But yeah, Raymond fucking Cash. I forgot all about him, man. But nah, I used to fuck with him.
Best rapper out of Cleveland.
I mean,
if your only choice is Bone or Ray Cash,
you gotta take Ray Cash. All right. But yeah, as far as Rainy Days, that's how I feel about that track. Like I said, I thought it was dope. But it was, like you said, rating it now as far as how I would compare it to the rest of the album, I probably still put Knuckleheads last. I put it over like number 16 and number 17, I think. Oh, number 17, number 18, Heaven and Hell, and North Star. North Star, I think it was just talking anyway, but I'll definitely put it over those.
Real quick, MC Brains is from Cleveland, so I'll take MC Brains over Bone. Go ahead.
I'm not taking MC Brains over. What's the song he had?
Brainstorming.
Nah, it was a song about chicks.
Yeah, too.
Oochie coochie la 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 oochie.
Yep. Yeah. I am the brains and up the car.
That's better than Bone?
Yep. That's how much I hate Bone. That's how much I dislike Bone.
Yeah. I mean, you can run it on the Notorious Thugs. I thought they was decent, even though I thought the song ran too long. And it's a joint.
I typically cut that song off after Big's verse.
Understood.
I did like Crazy. What was that Lil Jon joint?
I liked them on Spit Your Game. That was my shit. What they did the remix to.
Wasn't that just their verses from what's his face?
Huh?
Wasn't that just their verses from Notorious Thugs?
Nah, his verse is totally different. Nah, so they did use Biggie's verse, and then they put Twister on it and Crazy Bone on it.
Oh,
no,
wow!
Nah, Crazy was a lot better.
Crazy is probably the best rapper out of Bone.
I give you that. I go Lazy. I probably like Lazy more than I like Crazy, but he's not as popular. I like Lazy Bone. It was like Busy is probably. I didn't like the Uncle Chaz nigga, but I don't think that was Wishbone. But yeah, and Busy was probably. I probably liked him. I want to say the least, but
Crazy Bone is the only one that I could like even tell you one of his bars that I know for sure is crazy.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like distinguishing himself as an artist,
right?
Now that was dope that was dope about Wu-Tang though. It's like you had 9 members, right? And okay, now here's Raekwon's album, and it's like you could take that one piece, and we alluded to this that we would expect this type of quality of album to come from Method Man at the time, and not from Raekwon. Now we expected Raekwon to be dope, but just opening it up and listening to it, it was a whole different vibe. It was just kind of like it puts you in that space. Like I've never sold drugs. I never, was out on the streets or anything like that, pissing in hallways or elevators and shit. Like, but you understood the griminess of the music, and you was able to identify with what he's saying without having to do it.
Right.
So that was always, dope to me. But him being in his own lane and his own bag was just dope as fuck. As far as a artist to say, well, these are the RZA beats that I'm going to use for this album. And they're all going to be kind of within and like, I still don't understand how Inspected. I mean, I know you say the flood and all that stuff, but dog, music is music, right? So you hear niggas over like other people, like you hear Inspector Deck over Above the Clouds, or you hear him over, all of the tracks off of the Wu-Tang Forever album, and he's just spitting, but then it got to his album and it just wasn't it.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But
I don't know what they did.
Yeah, so next we got Guillotine featuring Ghostface, Inspector Deck, and Jizza. Um, what's your sentiments on that one?
Yeah, it's solid track to me. I think it was, like production wise and everything. I think it fit for um like if Jizzle was gonna be featured on this album, that this is the beat you would put him on.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think as always Jizzle's on on point. Um I think we kind of spoke on this like when we first did this podcast. Like I think Master Killer, I think it's almost like Master Killer seems to sound better when Jizz is on the same track as him. And I guess in my mind, sometimes I looked at like like Jizz was like I don't know, like the mentor or the pops to Master Killer,
Mm-hmm.
um, or Master Killer was the I don't know the. I'm not trying to be too disrespectful, but like the second rate Jizza, like
Yeah, I
somebody
really
would come to you.
that's a good way to explain it. I mean, it's not. I don't think that's against him. I feel like all of the mistakes that Jizza did with his first record or his first album that wasn't a Wu Tang affiliated album, he kind of. I feel like he kind of directed Master Killer to not necessarily Master Killer was gonna go down that, like what was it? Well,
Right.
that was or "Ooh, We Love You, Rakim," with the RZA and shit like that. But them mistakes from them releasing their first albums, I feel like the Jizza was had it not necessarily pause had his hands on them, but at the same time was like, okay, you rap when I rap because these are the type of beats that I sound good on and you sound good on. So let's just stick with it
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think
So
that's kind of what this track was. But no, I like the track. I mean, there's nothing on this album that I would probably say is a horrible track. And there's songs that like I wasn't maybe necessarily think like if you were to before doing a re-listen, if you would have said to me like, "Hey, what do you think about Guillotine Source?" I'd be like, "Oh, what's that?" And then I go and listen to it. I was like, "Oh yeah, that shit was dope too." Like even just scrolling through this playlist, I'm like I said, the last two tracks, Heaven and Hell and North Star, kind of like to me for me the album kind of ends at Wu Gambinos.
yeah, that's why
Um,
I cut it off too. I'm done after that. So
yeah, but like Guillotine, like I look at it as like man, for me, like there's a lot of songs like we're gonna get to this one next. But like I really just like the Can It All Be So Simple remix. Like Ice Water. Um, I've said Wu Gambinos multiple times. Ice Cream kind of just feel like it's like for a single radio friendly feel to it. Incarcerated Scarface's Rainy Days. Guillotine is one of those. It's like it's a dope cut, but it's like there's so many other dope songs on this album. Like this kind of like when you talk about like when you talk about The Wire
mhm.
and you try to rank like 5 seasons, and you can come up with like you can rank them, but it's not like whatever season you put like in that fifth slot. It's not a bad season. It's just that you have to
Mhm.
rank them. It's not like it's like whatever like the fifth season, like whatever you put in that five slot for The Wire isn't like that was completely trash. And if you were to rank these songs are only built for Cuban Links, like I said, if you take off track 17 to 18, you take a Striving for Perfection, then you're looking at 15 songs. Like if you were to somehow drop this one into like the 12th or 13th slot, which I don't know that I necessarily it might get a little bit higher, but like it's not like even if you get it to 10, it's not like it's in the 10th slot because it's trash. It's just 'cause, like the other 9 songs above it are
Are
like
just that much better. Yeah.
right, yeah.
And that they became your favorite. Like this track to me reminds me of true Wu Tang. Like
Yeah,
if RZA was on this, or like it felt like even if like you guy was on this, right? Like it's that
yeah,
palette that's very reminiscent to what they was coming off of in the Wu Tang. So
right,
it
yeah,
kind of gives the Wu Tang feel still, but yet you're still in this cinematic approach to an album from Raekwon's and Ghostface perspective. So
yeah, yeah.
it's a dope track, but as you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be highlighted as the best song on the album. But that doesn't mean like it's not one of the better songs that Wu-Tang has ever created. So,
Right. Yeah.
so, but cool. But you had mentioned Can It All Be So Simple? How do you feel about this one?
Man, I really like this one, man. I don't know, like it's like the beat to it, kind of open up like, yo, son, up the shot. Yo, take this Scott toss, take
Mhm.
this shot. I ain't
You
gonna make it. I
bleeding,
ain't gonna make
son.
it. You bleed, son.
Bad, son.
Bad. Yeah, like, and then you just open with like, man, I don't remember the lyrics like you be remembering them, but like you just open with Ghost rapping like, check what happened out of state,
Mhm.
like, it like beat like this is like I probably like this. Not probably. I do like this better than the original version, which
I'm
was
with
on
you on that. The energy on this
yeah,
one was better. I mean, even though they had a
yeah,
video for the other one, the energy on this one was better, and I feel like the lyrics was a little bit. I feel like they was riding the beat. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how
yeah,
you listen to songs, but I feel like they was riding the beat more on that one, like just going along with the beat. Whereas this one, they was showcasing their lyrics,
yeah.
so it
Like
sticks out a little bit more. So
yeah, you could mess around and get me. You could mess around and get me to say like this might be my favorite track on the album. Like, um, like I keep coming back to Wu Beans. I think just for the posse cut that it is. But if
mhm.
like this is probably in my top. Like looking at the track listing right now, uh, this is probably my top three. Like it's probably as I'm looking at it, and I just think about like the years of listening to this album.
Hmm.
Uh, this is probably number two. And if I just go there like Wu Gambinos, I'm really rocking with it because of the just the posse cut. Like I really like Mess verse on here. Actually, you
Hmm.
know what? As I'm looking at it now, like I probably go ahead and go. Can It All Be So Simple being my favorite track on here because I
Hmm.
was RZA's verse on Wu Gambinos. I'm gonna say that I'm about to penalize Wu Gambinos for RZA's verse. Um,
The super, what is
so
that? The super exquisite imperial is the resurrect back to pay your ass a visit on some
yeah,
biochemical universal giant, the black general, licking shots like David Crockett on the bicentennial. It's like, what the fuck?
yeah, that's like we'll talk about more about RZA's verses when we get to that one. But yeah, I think as I'm scrolling through it now, right now, today on June 15th, um, Can It All Be So Simple Remix is my favorite track off this album. Now this might change tomorrow, June 16th, but right now, this is my favorite track off of the album because
that,
I'm penalizing Wu Gambinos for RZA.
that was hard for me to say. If I had to say my favorite track, I'm looking at it too now. Um, Honestly, just the energy of it, I might go Glaciers of Ice just because of, for one, it was unexpected for me,
Yeah,
this type of single from them. But I was so into that song, and it was like an energetic vibe that, with them coming out, or Raekwon coming out, or Ghost as well, but them coming out, and
yeah,
like I said, it
yeah.
was surprised me. I was like, damn, like, because I knew I always liked Wu Tang, coming. I mean, all the way back to '93, but hearing them, because which at this point in time, you had what? You had Ghost, or not Ghost. We had um you
I'm about
got
the solo joints.
Meth, yeah, Meth, Oh
Dirty.
Dirty, and that was it, right? Yeah,
That
because
was
Genius
it.
I think
Yeah,
came out in October, or
yeah,
October, November, one of the two. I know he
yeah,
came out. They came out the same day as Goody Mob for some reason, um,
yeah.
but I just remember those two albums. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we all love, Bring the Pain and All I Need remix and Ooh Baby, I Like It Raw. Shimmy Shimmy Ya, Brooklyn Zoo is one of my favorite tracks. But when this came out, it was just like, okay, I want to hear everything else. And then, like you had, like I said, on the flip side, you had Criminology on that single, and Criminology was just like dope as fuck to me too. So it was kind of like, I was like that. So I really hold high regards to those two songs, even though, um,
Hmm.
whenever I'm looking at the track list now, and I'm like, okay, the first songs I will listen to, if I'm like, oh, I want to hear a certain song off of this album, I'll probably go to Glaciers of Ice first, and then
Okay,
I'll probably go to Incarcerated Scarface second.
makes sense. Makes sense.
So with shark biters, how do you feel about like when they were talking all of the things associated with Big and stuff like that?
Man, I think later on, I think it was probably after Bigger Pass. I saw an interview with Math on MTV, and Math when he was like, man, he's talking about Ghost Spray. He's like, man, them niggas just don't like anybody, and that's how I ended up just taking it. Like I don't, man, I think Ghost and Ray, like I don't, man, Nas was their boy. Like I think Wu Tang like just had a thing with. I probably more, but I don't even like a competitive thing with Bad Boy. Like I think Bad Boy was like the antithesis of what they were,
Hmm.
like with the like the shiny stuff and all of that, and
And
just
they were
like
just
the
grimy
pop
and
singles.
dirty.
Yeah, so I think like I don't. I just look at it as like, man, it was man that little competitive nature, just going for probably who was your like you talking about East Coast and all of that. If you want to talk about who was winning, who was the best coming out the East Coast. Like Biggie was probably like your main competition, and with him being like the antithesis of what you were, because like you can make the argument that Nas was too, but Nas was more in their vein or whatever. But
Hmm.
you want to talk about, like you said, you trying to do that grimy style and everything like that. Bad Boy was coming out with a polished sound and all that. That man, you was probably seeing like you were kind of seeing like the way shifting. Because
Hmm.
like I said, Wu dropped in '93, and Big came in '95. So like, I mean, to me, it's just entertaining. I know that some people like, cause I mean, I'm at this point, like I'm at a point in life now, like where like this kind of stuff, especially now, I won't take something like this too seriously. I
Hmm.
know there's probably some people that's like our age who still like probably
People
hate,
take the stuff that
probably,
they say and make that they rule in life, and I hate that.
yeah, like they
Oh
probably
well,
hate Biggie.
Raekwon didn't like Big, I don't like Big, or it's like or
Yeah,
Tupac didn't like Big, or I didn't like Big. It's like or Raekwon or Nas got a 5 mic, so that's a classic album to everybody, or
right.
Ether beat Super Ugly, so Nas won, or it's just like
Yeah.
make a decision. I remember one time. This is I think he was there. I can't remember. I know Feek was there and Tone was there. I can't remember. I think he was there, but I can't remember. But yeah, because Darius is there when I graduated and shit. And
Oh
it
yeah.
was like it was weird ass argument. This chick, we was outside of some little house party, and this chick was like, "Oh man, what she say?" She said, and this is like the whole Nas and Jay-Z, and she was saying how she's like, "Man, she said, man, Reasonable Doubt was whack." And well,
Yes,
name
I
me three
remember
songs
that.
that wasn't singles. And she like, I feel like if I'm gonna say something that's whack, I've did my due diligence to like be like, nah, especially if it's somebody that I like. Like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you tracks off of. I mean, I've probably forgotten them now, but I'll tell you tracks off of Nostradamus that I didn't fuck with, and I thought it was just terrible. But I'm not
Yeah.
gonna tell you that the Nostradamus album is whack and not be able to, justify, whether people say it came down to bootlegging and stuff like that, or even similar to that with I Am. But all that being said, she was like, yeah, the Jay-Z, the album was whack. I was like, well, why was it whack? And she's like, it just wasn't that good of an album. I was like, so like name me three tracks that's not singles. It's like because I could easily. I mean, I'm a fan of Jay-Z and Nas, but I can easily like you don't have to be a fan of you could be a fan of Nas and be a fan of Jay-Z. Same thing with Tupac and Biggie. Like even when
Yeah.
when Hit 'Em Up came, I remember hitting you up and saying, hey, look, they got the tape at warehouse. I can get it for you and I can send it to you. Da da da. But because back then we was kind of shifting to CDs. Anything anyway,
Right.
like it was just kind of like, yeah, it was music. It was like we didn't want Jay or Biggie and Pac to beef, but with them beefing, it was music that we was being introduced to. It wasn't like I said, it wasn't like we had where we can just go online and listen to it like that anyway. So it's
Yeah.
almost like, okay, well, cool, I get it, I ship it to you, da da da, or I bring it home whenever, like all that stuff. And I don't know, man. It's like people take things that people say and then they make that they take people's
We
opinions and make them into facts.
yeah, man. We yeah, music consumers, man. Like we allow like the personal feelings of rappers. Like some people allow them to like help them make decisions about things. Like I don't like if it's dope, if it's dope to where I like it, then I like it. Like the Drake and Kendrick beef, like I've preferred Kendrick over Drake even before the beef. But
Mhm,
throughout that battle, there were a couple tracks where Drake dropped some songs. I was like, oh, he probably got Kendrick. And
mhm.
then Kendrick come back, and then finally Kendrick, I think had to knock out
Put the
blow
nail in
with
the
like
coffin. Yeah.
yeah, just because it
Mhm,
was about. But like, and even now, like, if and also it's like for Drake, like uh, I honestly like Drake's first album. What was it Take Care?
mhm.
Um, I was cool with Take Care. Also, after this, like, it's not too many. And the argument of Drake, and I know kind of getting sidetracked a little bit here. I know one of the arguments against Drake is that like Drake doesn't have a classic. And I don't know, some people point to no, it was no Take Care. It wasn't because Take Care is that the one with
That was the first album.
was that okay? Yeah, so I'm thinking about the
No,
one
no,
where he
no.
was.
Take Care is the second album.
Yeah, so whatever the first one, I'm thinking about the first one. I can't think of what the first
Yeah, I
one
like that
was.
one. What's the name of that
I,
shit? I mean, because I'm trying not to, because it's so far gone was the
let
mixtape,
me,
quote
yeah,
unquote. But damn,
it
one day it all, it's
was it
all
You'll
the
Thank Me
same.
Later?
Thank me later. Yeah, that's
Thank,
it. Yeah.
yeah, so like that one I like, but after that, man, like I can pick songs off of certain Drake albums that I really like, but I
Hmm.
can't tell you um like views might have been the closest
I
for
like
me.
views. Yeah, I like
Um
views. I
yeah,
like the
but
one
like
that was that the double album.
no, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember it.
Okay.
Um
I definitely like the double album, but I mean, but I think Drake makes music just. I think Drake literally makes music for his fans, and the majority of his fans are women. So
yeah,
even with that double album, like there was, and this we jump back to the Raekwon shit, but even with the double album, it was half like hip hop and half R&B.
yeah,
So of course, I gravitated towards the hip hop part of it.
right.
So and
Yeah,
I
and that
didn't gravitate towards the R&B because
right,
I don't like 40 as not to say I don't like him as a producer. I like Drake over more up tempo tracks, and 40's production is more of a chill type of
right.
production.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying about Drake. Like I don't even though like, Kendrick got the best out of him, got the best of him in this beef or whatever. If Drake were to drop a banger right now, I'd listen
Still go
to it.
hit.
And that's
Yeah,
yeah, and
still
that's
go
all to
yeah.
say that. Yeah, that's all to say that. Like, man, especially now that I'm older, almost 50. Like I tell people, man, for one, um, music is subjective. You like what you like. Like
Yep.
it's not like there you know me, there's certain kind of rap that like I probably gravitate towards. Like I'll probably gravitate towards stuff. You gotta have a decent beat, so I'm gonna gravitate to some more soulful stuff. I like stuff with horns.
Hmm.
They Reminisce Over You is probably probably one of my favorite songs of all time. Like I've over the past couple years, I've said like, man, I want the instrumental to when I die, if there's a funeral, I want They Reminisce Over You to be like the instrumental that's played at my
Hmm.
funeral. But I'm also a Joe Budden fan. But like I also know these things are like subjective. Like I tell people like you talk about late 90s groups, Mobb Deep is my favorite group. I
Hmm.
say that, but I know Outkast musically was the better group. But
Hmm.
like, man, you like what you like, and that and
Yeah, and
that's
that's okay.
like,
I
yeah,
told you Jay Z's favorite rap. I mean Jay Z. Jay, my nephew, he said his favorite rapper was Chameleon there, and I was just like, all right, well, shit, nigga, you like Chameleon there, then fuck it, shit. The one like
yeah,
Chameleon there was whack, but it was just weird. But I looked at that from like a demographic and age and who you're targeting, and
hmm
Chameleon there to me was just he. In my opinion, I still see Chameleon there as a young rapper, but
yeah,
but that's just how I see it. But I still see Jay Z as Jay Z, even though he's an older rapper. I see Nas as Nas. I don't see them as
yeah,
older rappers. But
hmm
you'll see younger cats be like, oh, we don't listen to Nas. We don't listen to Jay Z. We listen to Migos, or we listen to Playboy Cardi, or we listen da da da, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah,
look,
the Mexican.
fuck it, that's your lane.
Because if you take dudes who graduated, like, and my brother Raymond probably isn't, because Raymond was like 18 years older than me, so he wasn't necessarily in this category. But if I were to take like, if there's somebody that's 10 years older than me that grew up like
That nigga favorite
Run
rapper is
DMC,
probably Cool Ski Rock,
yeah, like was probably rocking with Run DMC, and like for
Grandmaster,
us,
Grandmaster
yeah,
Jello G or something.
yeah, and we like, man, I don't listen to like Cool Mo D, like I don't rock with Cool Mo D like that. But
Mm.
like I remember Raymond was rocking with Cool Mo D. How you like me? That's Wild Wild West. Like
I thought he got a
no, if
good
you,
part of LL. Like, besides LL popularity, like Kumo D
yeah,
was in that ass. Pause. So
yeah, and it's like you said, some of this is generational. Like I think rap for the most part was always like a young person's game, for like your consumers were young people, and I
mhm.
think some of that was like in some ways it feels like our generation is the first generation that probably grew up damn near entirely on hip hop. Like
Yeah.
since we were kids, like if you're talking about like I said, LL and Kumo D, if you're talking about they were like 85, 86, we were like 8 or 9 at that time.
Mhm.
Like if you look at the generation before us, like rap was just kind of getting introduced. Like we might not totally rock with Run DMC, but we remember Run DMC. We
Yeah.
remember Walk This Way.
Yeah.
Like so we kind of grew up on it. So that I think like whereas Run DMC didn't age that well because I think their fan base probably shifted away from rap. Like all we know rap. Like me, I'll just say myself like that's just really what I know. Like I stopped really rocking with R&B probably the early 2000s. I respect it. I'll still listen to it, but it's a lot of stuff like it'll be times like when they would do those verses like Mariah Carey's that one joint, We Belong Together. I
Mhm.
remember when it first came out. Man, when I heard so whoever produced it put it on the verses, I was like, dang, this was dope. Well, I was probably like 10 years late on that song. But that's all to say, like, I think so for us, Jay-Z and Nas and some other rappers, they've been able to age and still rap and still have some level of success because now because we grew up on hip hop, so we're still looking for that. Like, and
Mhm.
we're not gonna get into like maybe these younger rappers like Migos or Sexy Red or Glorilla. Like, we'll listen to some of it, but like, man, we ain't in the club for Glorilla. Now we understand her appeal,
Mhm.
but like for me, like I'm gonna listen to the Killer Mike album before I'm gonna listen to the Glorilla album. But the Killer
Understood.
Mike album is for somebody that's almost 50. Not exclusively for me, but it's gonna appeal to me
I mean,
more than like a Glorilla
that
album.
nigga almost 50 year got to be around there. So I mean, it's a
Yeah, so
demographic that he targeting. So
yeah, so we like, and I don't even know how I got on that, but I think as we've grown up because we kind of grew up with rap being like the main music genre for us, like all the rappers, we've aged with rappers like Jay-Z,
mhm.
Nas, and all them. Like we've grown up with them, so we still like as long as they can still do something solid. And like I said, I've said I think Nas like this stretch that he's been on with Hit Boy, to me is probably like the best run of his career.
Yeah.
Um, And so like, but man, Run DMC couldn't have done that. And that's no disrespect to Run DMC. Like LL could do it to a degree,
Hmm.
but like, man, we like
What about Raekwon
LL
doing it?
Raekwon.
Yeah.
Mm, See, I mean, the problem is Raekwon has only built for Cuban Links, and he has some of the Wu stuff. But
Mhm.
Raekwon by himself, like, I would probably make the argument more that Ghost,
Oh, Ghost can definitely get a run, and
yeah,
Ghost has
Ghost
had runs.
Yeah, Ghost could get a like even like you said, if Ghost were to like link up with a producer and like you said, he's done it, but if Ghost right now were to link up with somebody, Raekwon probably could. I just
I don't think he has a
it's
vision to do it. I feel like
Yeah, there you go.
Nas
Yeah,
had it where
yeah,
Nas wasn't. It was at one point in time he was talking about Nas didn't know how to pick beats. It's like
yeah,
Raekwon don't know, not to say that he don't know how to pick beats. He I don't want to say he don't know how to take direction, but I feel like you do like a Raekwon and Alchemist album, right? Raekwon and Alchemist, I think that'd be dope as fuck. You know, or like what's the name? Even though I'm not a huge fan of him, what's the nigga that died? Mobb Deep, Prodigy. Like Prodigy knew how to make like a good quality out, like all independent, but they were all sounding pretty good. Like I said, I'm not a huge Prodigy lyrical fan, but he knew how to make those quality albums.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think Ray. Cause I think if you look at Ray's solo albums, I don't know if there's anything outside of Mobility and Only Built for Cuban Links too. But if you just look at those two albums, like you said, whether it's the direction, not knowing what to do, Ray like if I say Ray can't do it, it's just because I'm looking at like
you're looking at his track record. It's just like looking at Lauryn Hill or looking at Mos Def or like none of these are like, we know how talented they are, but they weren't able to give us. I mean, they were able to give us black on black on both sides, or they was able to give us Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, or they was able to give us Only Built for Cuban Links, but they just weren't able to follow that up with anything that was that quality. You know, people will, and this is why I tell you that revisionist theory, as far as people thinking that just because they're dope artists, they'll tell you, well, this I forgot the name of the second album, but like the album one like that. You know what I'm saying? Or Lauryn Hill's the only next album was that Unplugged album. So we don't want to talk about that and disparage her lateness. But then you got like Immobility, and like I said, Only Built for Cuban Links too. It's just like sometimes with timing, sometimes with quality of music, and like you can listen to, not to say if RZA was the chief driver behind this, but I just remember with Immobility, the RZA, I don't even remember. I don't think he did even a track on there, if I remember correctly. Like if he did anything, it was no more than like one or two. But sometimes let somebody else take the wheel, whether it's Jesus or whether it's Alchemist. But
Jesus.